They were chasing 127. They were 52 for no loss at the end of the power play. Inexplicably, Hyderabad is 114 all out. They're done. Embarrassingly so. But Punjab has picked up the 2 points. It said, thank you very much. That's 4 in a row now. Jeez, we are having the time of our lives. I'm Gaurav Kapur. With me is Pommie Mbangwa and Shaun Pollock. Gentlemen, can someone explain to me what has gone on in the last 1 hour?
Yeah, it's a shocker. It's an absolute shocker. We actually talked about it at the half-time chat and said that the two guys are there after the power play and they get out playing sweeps. Maybe Pommie mentioned that maybe they were thinking net run rate. But, it's the perfect opportunity to just take on the responsibility and knock the game over the line. And there's so many things that you've got to look back at that chase and think to yourself, I mean, even down to, I know we don't often get very technical on the show with regards to how you should or shouldn't do things, but you got the two youngsters, Pandey and Shankar, at the crease. You got two young spinners who bowl wide on the crease and sort of drifted in. They don't bowl the 45 because every time they come on to bowl, the 12th man comes out and takes the helmets off. And none of them sweep. None of them get down and play a paddle. I mean, they aren't turning it. So it's the shot that's so on. You just get down, lap it once, get down, lap it twice. The field changes, opens up the offside. And you don't have to get, what did Pandey? He got 18, or he was going at like strike rate of 50%, I think, at one stage. And the attitude also is like, oh, well, we'll get this, just knocking it around. Sure, I'm glad I'm not in that dressing room. I don't know if I'd be able to control my emotions with regards to them knocking over the line. It's one of those ones where, you talk about Alex Ferguson and his hairdryer treatment. You've got to have a go at them. I mean, that has got to be unacceptable to have got half the way without losing a wicket and then get bowled out. Don't get me wrong. I think fantastic effort by Punjab and the effort they put in, the bowling wise.
Yeah.
But really disappointing chase.
But 56, Pommie, you lose your first wicket. 114, you're done. You finished. I don't even get it. To make it worse, they were 100 for 3.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna go. Actually, that I was gonna say, never mind 56. You can lose a wicket. There can be some sort of excuse, and that might well be, they're going, and you can't attribute this excuse to experienced men like Warner and Bairstow that they're going so hard and they're doing well and maybe the adrenaline. No, there's a score of 127 to chase down. They know what they need to do. If possible, they need to put on 127 themselves. They'll look at it and go, we should have done that, right? We could have helped the way we got out. And if you got out, nobody can do anything. That's just how it goes. But they could have helped the way they got out. And then from then on, it's just nobody else can get going. Nobody else can, and the pressure builds. It essentially just closes in on them and just keeps coming along and coming along. And then you just think somewhere along the line, you think, well, actually, they're not going to get there. And as silly as it might seem, when it's just 127 they had to get to, you couldn't see how they were going to get runs unless they had like this lucky edge that went off somewhere, or someone misfielded and dropped a catch, or something like that. It just felt like the game was closing in on them. And all because one side doesn't give up, just keeps doing what they're doing. And I said at the start, get Bairstow out, get Warner out. Then you just never know. This is not something that starts this year. This is for years going backwards. If you play against SRH, get one of those two out, open an end, and then you can achieve just about anything. I didn't believe they would, but here's that theory proven once again.
Can I tell you something? If there was a Kane Williamson there in their lineup, they would have gotten over the mark in 17 overs. Just needed a little bit of sense and maturity there, saying, listen, they needed what? I think they were a runner ball well before the halfway stage. Well before that.
But therein lies the conundrum, though, because you have a Kane Williamson, you have the navigating through the middle, but you then don't have the 3 for whatever from Jason Holder, right?
Fair enough, of course.
Unless it's one of the top 2 that you're removing. So
yeah.
Yeah.
There was in the back 10, Polly. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a sweeter deal, right? You need less than a runner ball in the back 10. And you're just going, listen, man, you better call the hotel and keep our beverages cold because we're going to get this done real quick and get out of here. Yeah, Polly? And then suddenly, what was going on? All right, I think the first question we need to ask you is, was there anything you saw in the surface that kind of justifies this?
Yeah, I think we mentioned at the start of the tournament that as the games go on, the surfaces have been used over and over and again, and if they're going to start holding up, and it's going to get more difficult just to stand and hit through the line, and that's why often you'll see them go hard up front because the ball's new, the ball's coming on. But in those pressure situations, the hardest time is when the ball's stopping, because then all of a sudden you can't use the pace, you can't deflect, and it's very difficult to pick up the easy runs. That's why I'm saying just to get down and play those little scoops. And that's where coaches harbor on about, the intensity. It's for instances like this. You'll get over the line. Oh, coach, what were you on about? We were intense enough. We were going to do it. But it's not. You can slip up on every once in a while on an occasion. And it's like this kind of chase where there is no way. In that middle period, if Kane Williamson was there, as you mentioned, he'd have been knocking it, looking for ones, looking for twos, sweeping, just keeping the board ticking over. You can't just knock balls back and think, well, I'll get one, I'll hit to the boundary. We saw how difficult it was for them to hit boundaries in the first inning. So, I think cricket awareness on this occasion, I'm afraid they've all got to go and do 20 push-ups in the dressing room for bad cricket awareness.
20, that's it? I was thinking more like 50 and no dinner, go to your room and don't come out.
Yeah, but this is the modern society. You can't be too hard on the players. Just 20.
Well, great point.
Oh,
Polly makes a great point about intensity. There was only one team out there that was showing the unrelenting intensity, and that was Punjab today. And their bowlers, let's have a look. They didn't give up. I mean, any other team, you give a 50-run power play away, chasing 125 odd, you're thinking, they're done. They kept coming, right? They kept coming. Props to Arshdeep right at the end, of course, bowling the high pressure overs towards the end. There was Bishnoi, of course, 4 overs for 13. Jordan, 4 overs for 17, picks up 3 wickets. I got to say, gentlemen, there was a point that I noticed. There was the Manish Pandey shot. Fantastic shot, really. I mean, you want to hit over the bowler's head. You think that's the safest. And suddenly, the substitute fielder, Jay Suchit, comes running out of long off, flying, makes that catch. That catch, that should not have been a catch 11 times out of 10.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's what I've got to say to that is wow. And I said some things could go wrong. One thing wrong here, one thing wrong. You put a foot wrong and you have 126 on the board. You're not going to defend it. Yeah. And from the time where they turned the game around, absolutely everything went spot on. And I think before we came on air, you said that moment when Suchit runs around the boundary and takes it, changes the game totally. Yeah. I think the belief heightens in their camp. Once that catch is taken, it just swings and away it goes. And it's one way for them. And it's kind of straight ahead. And we just keep doing what we have to do. Nobody got anything wrong. I also was happy for Jordan, who at the beginning of the tournament, if it came to this stage, you could almost bank on the fact that he would bowl and there'd be edges here, gone for 4. He'd be whacked there, gone for 6 that way. This time around, they couldn't hit him anywhere. He got wickets. He didn't give away runs, bowls, dot balls right at the back end. So, a magnificent top catch, unbelievable catch with boundary and everything in as well and running to the side.
Paulie, this can happen sometimes, right? You can have it's just 1 wicket and they still have so much batting to come. But sometimes when you're defending a low score, just some bit of magic like this in the field just completely switch the mood, just make the morale so buoyant that you feel invincible.
Yeah, for sure. And it's all about when you get that sniff. And that's why when you look back at the batting innings, often what happens in these low-scoring games is you say to your bowlers, listen, we need to pick up some wickets up front just to apply some pressure, and then we can look to apply. But once the power play is done, if we had to ask those players from Punjab, do you think you can win this game? One guy who's a youngster who doesn't want to sound negative would have said, yes, we can still win it. The rest of them, if they were reality, they would have said, no, we're done. We're basically done. There's nothing much. We've got 60-odd runs to defend.
Yeah.
And most of our bowlers, Shami's almost bowled out. I think he bowled 3 of his overs up front. And that's where you just can't allow teams back in, particularly on a surface that's starting to hold up. So, yeah, I think SRH will be very, very disappointed. I mean, the fact that also Punjab only used the 5 bowlers. I mean, they didn't even have to go into other option. At one stage, I think they had 5 overs to go, and they had 2 bowlers to bowl those 5 overs. They had no one else that they were turning to.
Yeah.
And you know how normally that's really difficult to do, to string together 12 balls each, or 18 and 12 balls that can be almost impossible in the T20 format. And they did it. And they didn't only just win. They won by 10 runs or 12 runs, whatever it may be. So
yeah, I was looking at it.
For them. And also, it makes up for some of those losses that they had at the start of the tournament. They shouldn't have lost 2 or 3 of games in the first 6 that they played. So this will feel like they've got one back.
Absolutely, because there was a time I remember in the power play when I was just hurriedly trying to go through my dinner saying, well, this may finish really soon. I hope I can finish my dinner in time, to a point where I think I've digested and thrown some of it back up because of it. Just
it wasn't good then, was it?
No, did you
one
cook
thing,
for yourself
one thing I
then?
can tell you for sure, it wasn't the risotto then, because the risotto is never going to give you that feeling.
No, it was Gaurav trying to cook the risotto.
I was trying to cook the risotto. It was kind of chalky. It's kind of chalky, but not as chalky as all of Hyderabad will be feeling right now. As Hyderabad fans will be feeling this. What's this weird taste in my mouth? I think I just ate chalk. I think that's the feeling they're going to get, because when you look at the points table, remember we started this day today saying that it's going to be Kolkata, Punjab, and Hyderabad who are going to be in contention, right, for that one slot. Very, very interesting things have happened. Is that Kolkata is beaten Delhi. Right? We didn't expect that. You expected Delhi to be stronger, Kolkata to be a little scrambled after their 84-run show against Bangalore the other day. And Hyderabad had this in the bag. Now, suddenly, with both these games just sort of twisting and turning, you've got now Kolkata sitting at 12. You've got Punjab now just really on their tail. And Hyderabad looking at it and saying, well, I think we missed this bus.
Yeah, it's not quite there yet, but they're big 2 points. They're big 2 points. And they were big for both teams as they went into today. Despite what happened, yes, they would have liked the other side to have a different result so that Kolkata would stay close to them. But still, essentially, the issue was get 2 points. If you get 2 points, then the chances are that much greater. And also, you're feeding into the momentum that you've created in the few games that have gone by. So for both of them, they wanted to come out on the other side of this and be thinking, wow, we've won again. We've done well. We keep going. So this is wonderful. We've got that winning feeling yet. Now, if you're Sunrisers, you're having to deal with, okay, now we definitely can't lose any games. So, tough for them.
But I think it's actually a double body blow for SRH, because if you look at their net run rate, I don't know if we can get the table up again, but their net run rate was the only one that was positive. So you win this game and you win another game, you end up on 14 points with your positive net run rate compared to everyone else there. I mean, look how bad some of those net run rates are.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they're in the pound seats. That net run rate that they had was basically worth another victory. So those 2 points, and also their net run rate has now come down. It's an absolutely huge body blow for them. I mean, they had the game won with 14 hours to go. There's no ways they should lose that. So it's interesting to see how they can lick their wounds and bounce back.
I think this makes Monday's game it's like a quarterfinal, isn't it? It's almost like a quarterfinal. It's Punjab playing Kolkata. It's like winner takes fourth spot.
Yeah, we mentioned the importance of it before, not knowing how the results would go. Well, it's doubled in importance now. It's absolutely huge.
Yeah, there you go. Both these teams have won today.
Yeah, look, it's quite interesting we say that, because when we look at the table, we must remember that Kolkata still, they still have more points, and because they have more points, that advantage is not a little advantage. Not in this tournament, not this year. Not that it's been that ever in years before. But as we sit, we keep sitting here and saying this team against that team, no, we can throw the form book out the window as we go towards the playoffs, as we go towards the deciding of who will be fourth. And even that, you never know, right? Even that might become a statement that we change because of what happens with regard to form and the teams that are towards the bottom playing the teams that are towards the top and turning them over. And it's not just a simple qualification, qualified with 2 games to spare or with a game to spare. So, yeah, I agree that there is a form book. I agree that it looks a certain way. But if we've been taught anything today, it's to expect anything.
Actually, to expect the unexpected. Not just anything, but to completely expect the unexpected, because that's exactly what has happened through the day. Though I must say that on our 4th attempt, I think, Polly, you got it right, didn't you? You won the My 11 Circle Badge of Honor. Yeah, he did.
Did he really?
We're just gonna.
What did you say it was gonna be, Shaun?
49. So within 3 is the winner.
Yeah. It was 52 in the power play. So there he is, our My 11 Circle expert of the day, the winner of our Badge of Honor. Good job.
You're close to being an expert of the day.
Very close.
But closest to being expert of the day.
But the thing is, Pommie, with how our track record has been today with the other 3, we'll take this and we'll even put him on our shoulders and raise him up and say, go, Pommie.
I agree.
We would have been.
No, I think he's carrying us.
we would have been more shamefaced than the Hyderabad team if we wouldn't have got it at 4 attempts, right? Even though Hyderabad got 10 attempts and lost 10 wickets in 14 overs, we had 4, but finally we managed to get one. KR Rahul, after the match, said that we made winning a habit, which is excellent. And I think that's a great turnaround, right? Because it seemed like in the first half of the tournament that they would get there and it was almost like they had made losing a habit, right? And that can happen with teams as well. So I think the shift, it's not just luck, it's not skill, it's not the correct combination. I think there's somewhere they have unlocked something in their mind. Whatever they have done, I think that has been fantastic for them, because now they've got 4 wins in a row against, look who they have them against. First, they have them against 1, 2, and 3, Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, and now they pull this rabbit out of the hat against Hyderabad. That's 4 in a row. Sorry, you were saying, Paulie?
Yeah, I look forward to the next interview with Chris Gale, where he says, well, I've been back for how many games? And we've won all of them. The universal boss is having his influence.
Yes. You know something? If it was they would have qualified if he hadn't got that case of food poisoning, right? He would have played 2 games earlier.
Qualified already.
Yeah.
They would have qualified. I think it's time to send Chris Gale a little text message about that, and let's see if that comes out on the other end, right? If it just comes out on the broadcast, it might just. We should have a quick look at our boost stamina meter as well, and let's see who has shown up from the second game. From the first game, of course, we had Pat Cummins, and from this game, we have Rashid Khan. No surprise. Look at him. We spoke about his bowling, of course. He delivered 7 unplayable balls. Also, one really high catch, which had Abdul Samad and Rashid going for it, and then Samad just backing out saying, you take it, bro. You take it. I just misfielded the last ball. This is yours.
Funny enough, when they were chasing too, I've believed that it wasn't over until he was out, because he is one of those guys. I mean, his strike rate is 150, and he's got this unbelievable ability just to walk in and middle things. I mean, and the one he got out to, he actually middled. I mean, let's be brutally honest. He's middled it right to the sweeper. I mean, he couldn't pick them up more perfectly. It was almost like one of his googlies. It was absolutely perfect. But he was the one guy who at that stage could find the boundaries. So it's a pity for him, but still the winner.
Yeah, I wish we could see more of Rashid batting, though. Barely seen him. I keep seeing him in the Big Bash, and he's amazing there, right? I mean, he's got that little mini helicopter that he pulls out. But today, well, I mean, even a helicopter couldn't take off from this pitch because everything was just staying low. Nothing could today. Well, let's have a look at our ultimate team of the day. These are the people who did manage to take off. And how many of these did you have in your My 11 Circle team? This, of course, is for game 1. This is the first one, which was Varun Chakravarti with his 5-wicket haul. His 5. That's right. It's a T20 game. He's got a 5. And Nitish Rana, of course, with his brilliant batting. You'll have Sunil Narayan there as well. Pat Cummins there as well. So a lot of Kolkata players, of course. That was our ultimate team of the day for the first game. And for our second game, we just got over. This was the Hyderabad Punjab game. There you go. Your captain, Chris Jordan. Didn't play the last game, played this game. And David Warner would have been your vice captain. This would have got you a lot of points. Let's see who our My 11 Circle champion of the day is. Have a quick look-see and who our winner is today so that we can applaud the person, Atiq Hussain from Muradabad in Uttar Pradesh. 345.75. Well done, well done, well done, Atiq. Congratulations. My question to Pommie is that Chris Jordan, of course, picking up those 3 wickets today, will he play the next game?
There's a question. Yeah, that should be our next joy factor question because we might not get it right. I hope so. I mean,
yeah,
I often go on about how you want method from your players. You want to know what your players can give you, and bowlers particularly. When it gets hot and it's down to those last 4, there are people who are assigned that job and they know what they're trying to do. Yes, form comes into it, but more often than not, you've got to show faith in a guy, and his mind's got to be uncluttered, and he'll generally get his skills roundabout okay. And Jordan generally is okay. So I think if they'd kind of stuck with him from the beginning, he'd have done them more good than bad, despite those first couple of games not going so well.
And Polly, the Glenn Maxwell riddle.
Oh.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I keep looking at who's there to replace him. I mean, do you bring Nisham in? That might be an option for him. I mean, the one thing as a player is you can have no gripe if you do get left out, because I mean you've been given enough opportunity and you haven't managed to produce. But then sometimes teams they go down the route of, well, he's bound to come right soon. So you think he's overdue and that he'll produce. So I don't know. Do they hold their nerve? Do they keep him? Let's just put it this way: it's not the situation Glenn Maxwell wants to be in. He doesn't want to have only got those amount of runs. He doesn't want to have faced 100 balls without hitting one out the ground. He called himself the big show, and he hasn't put in a massive show for us yet. But if they hold his nerve, you never know. Maybe at the back end, he comes good.
Okay, well, that was, of course, Punjab today, who has managed to just pull that victory, a defender score, which just did not seem defendable, but they've done it. So kudos to them. 2 points, lots of soul searching for Hyderabad, of course. And as Shaun Pollock suggested, perhaps 20 push-ups and go to bed without dinner. Well, we have the 2 games tomorrow. Yes, Sunday. Super Sunday. The first game is Bangalore v Chennai. It's Virat versus Dhoni. That's what the broadcast tells you. Virat versus Dhoni. That's right. Bangalore and Chennai. Bangalore playing in green. Bangalore playing in green tomorrow. They play that one game every season in green. Of course, go carbon neutral for that. They do. But right now, they won't want to be in neutral tomorrow. They want to be in 5th gear and sort of seal that spot.
How do they play in the green? What's their track record? Because in South Africa, we play in the pink every once in a while.
Yeah.
And our form in the pink is unbelievable. So I'd be interested to know what that...
Didn't AB... I think AB did his... AB's that 100, 150 is also a pink. There was a pink game, wasn't it?
Pink game, yeah.
Yeah, there was a pink game.
But he should feel comfortable if he plays, him and Morris, because they used to play in green.
There was tomorrow they're playing green. We have I'll have a look actually. We'll have a look at what their
lime green,
what their record, lime green, what their record is. But irrespective, let's have a look at their team and see if anyone is gonna feel that the captain's being mean, not green but mean, and leaving them out. I don't think he will. Will he? Will he? Do you think, Pommie? Do you think there's any changes coming up for them?
No, I don't foresee any change. he's kind of got what he needs in terms of covering the bases, so to speak. And with the spin side, he's got Chahal, he's got Washington Sundar, and they do a good job. Bear in mind, it's important to bear in mind that they'll play. I can't see there being a second pitch prepared alongside this one. They're playing in Dubai as well. So they'll play here where 125 has played 114. And that's why I go straight to the spinners, first of all. Maybe in his thinking might be I need a third spinner. If he does need that, if he feels that's the way to go.
Moin Ali for Udana.
I wasn't going to go for Udana. I was going to go the other way, actually.
Moin Ali for Udana.
For Finch at the top.
Interesting. Let's pull it back up again.
Yeah, so if I'm making the change, I'm okay with Udana down the bottom. It's not too much of a problem, I don't think. But if I'm making a change, I'm going up to the top and saying, Moin Ali, go and play in the power play, play your shots or whatever.
So you've got 7 bowlers then, if that's the change that they do.
If he makes a change as an option. The seamers, I think he's happy with them. Siraj, you're not going to drop him after what he did. Morris has been really good. And should you have a scenario where you need your fast bowlers to take the pace off and so forth, that's what Udana does. So, he's got bases covered and he's got his batting side working decently enough with himself and AB de Villiers in nice enough touch. So, I expect no change. That's what I'd say. I'd expect him to go in with the same combination because they're winning.
And interestingly, it's the first afternoon game for Chennai, and also as the gentleman just pointed out, both of them, which is that you're playing in Dubai. So this is the same pitch that's been used. You're going to end up using that in about 18 to 20 hours with the sun really beating down on it. So if you're using the same surface, I don't know. Could you have maybe 84 is a winning score?
I think what you're going to start picking up in these day games, with that sun baking down, I think when you get to a chance to bat first, obviously it's freshly rolled. They normally roll it like 45 minutes before the start of the day. Yeah. And that's when it probably plays at its best. What we have seen with these used surfaces is when they're night games, sometimes the dew comes in and it manages to help it slide on enough to make batting a little bit easier. But I think both in Abu Dhabi and in Dubai, I think the day games, I think it's going to get more challenging to bat second. So I wouldn't be surprised the team winning the toss in the next 2, if it's on the same surfaces, would probably, after a freshly rolled, bat first.
The strangest thing, though, is something that we have not said in almost a dozen seasons, which has been that Chennai is at the bottom of the table and that Chennai is out. Chennai will not be in the playoffs. 2020, well, 2020 is really 2020, isn't it? Well, look at it. We have the Chennai squad. I mean, it's strange because, everyone's a Chennai fan just for kind of the tenacity that they show and, just the MS Dhoni being there, etc., etc. There's 100 reasons. But watching it this time has just been, it's been hard to watch, Pommie. I'll be honest with you. It's been hard to watch, even if you're not a Chennai supporter. It's been hard to watch. And not so much for Polly, I'm guessing, having been in the Mumbai team. But for us neutrals, perhaps, it's been a little hard to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, look, you don't want to see you don't want to see struggling superstars. Nobody does, actually. Yeah, nobody wants to. You think of superstars, you think of them at their peak, right at the peak of their powers, and kind of entertaining everyone, knocking over whoever's in front of them. But that's just the way it goes. Nobody's guaranteed a win. Nobody's guaranteed good performance. And when it comes as it has done, you take it on the chin and you try and you rectify whatever they need to do. They'll figure that out. But first of all, it's to try and finish the competition the right way. And the right way is, despite not being able to get into the playoffs, you've still got to go out there and try and win games so that it's not a giveaway 2 points to whoever plays against you. Got to have some pride and make sure that you're knocking over the sides that are trying to get into the top 4, so to speak. It's also a scenario where guys will get an opportunity to play And the opportunity to play isn't just a chance to play, it's an audition. So there's a lot on it. Their careers riding on performances in terms of the games that are left. If you're RCB, you don't want to be the one that ends up being turned over by the side that's already out. You want to be going and saying, these are the points we're collecting. So a lot on it.
Yeah, I also think that they are one of those teams who make wonderful use of their home facilities. They often get 2 or 3 spinners who play a part, and they really control games, and they take a lot of confidence from winning, and then take it to the other venues and play well. So, as Pommie says, I agree. It will be like a dress rehearsal for what's to come. And the thinking also is like, where does the next RPL happen? Will it be back in India or will it be in Dubai again? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But if it is in Dubai again or in the UAE, maybe there needs to be some personnel change. Maybe the older guys who do a good job on their own homes facilities.
Yeah.
It might become time for new guys to spring up and take over the lead. So, yeah, interesting times. Not a situation they wanted to be in. Not a situation we would have predicted. But as you mentioned long time ago about this 2020 year, your prediction has come true. Another one. But you know what? You don't get a badge for that one.
Which one? Which one now? Which prediction? What did I say?
No, you said about 4 or 5 weeks ago, you said Chennai were at the bottom. And you said it's 2020. And it looks like maybe because of the way the year's gone that they'll be at the bottom when the end of the thing comes.
Yeah,
sure as not. Yeah,
I genuinely didn't believe it when I said it. Much like everything else I say, I didn't really believe it when I said it. But I'm glad that you remember it and it's coming true, because I think at some time I also said when they were last that they'll definitely qualify. So that's what I do, Polly. I just hedge my bets. I just randomly say 6 or 7 things to 6 or 7 different people, and once in a while, just like this, it magically comes true. And then, of course, I go ahead and reveal my secret like a bad Bond villain. Just, let me tell you, Mr. Bond, how I'm going to kill you in 10 minutes, but you will kill me in 9. So, there's 2 games tomorrow, of course. Let's have a look at the second game that there is. There's plenty of action, of course. Rajasthan playing Mumbai. We were talking about playing in pink. It's not really worked out that much for Rajasthan playing in pink, but playing in blue. For Mumbai, blue and gold, well, gold as usual. And Polly, let's actually, Pommie, I really want to ask Polly this. Is there still a little bit of kinship? There's still a little bit of brotherhood you feel with the Mumbai team? Yeah, still a bit.
Yeah, there's been no connection with any other team. So, of course, you still connect with your Mumbai Indians and you have a passion. And, I was a player, I was a captain, I was a coach, I was involved. So, you never let that die. So I hope they continue to go from strength to strength. And they also got a really good unit, haven't they? I mean, every year we look at their squad, and it's not really dictated to by conditions. Wherever they play, they produce good. They've got strength in so many of the right areas. The first 6 overs they can make you pay. They've got guys to whack at the back end. They've got international bowlers, and they've got plenty of different options. Whether it's a stopping surface, they can play the spinners plus the pollard. If it's got a bit of pace, you've got the ability, like we saw in the last game, where they can just run through teams. So they're a strong unit, and I'm sure they'll continue to do so. And I would think from the outset they would be too strong for Rajasthan tomorrow, but we'll have to wait and see. This RPL brings on so many surprises.
Strange things have been happening this weekend. And the thing is that with Mumbai, and Pommie, you were talking about we talk a lot about the jumbled thinking of teams. If you had to talk about the absolute opposite, 180 of jumble thinking, if you had to talk about 1 upon jumble thinking, that would be Mumbai, because we don't even need to look at the squad. They're not going to make any changes unless Rohit is fit, and then he comes in and Tiwari goes out, right? It's just really simple. You know what they're going to do. You know what they're going to play. And I think that is, I don't know if it's still underrated, then I guess people are just not watching as much cricket as we are, but that is just gold, right?
Yeah, and to go back to a side we were talking about, 2 minutes ago, Chennai Super Kings, what have they done in the past when they have been successful? They pick a side, and once they've picked their side, it hardly changes all the way through the tournament, because every single guy does decently, plays their part, knows what their part is, and delivers. Sometimes they'll go through a dip, then somebody else is doing well. With Mumbai, right from the word go, first game, who was it against? It was against the Chennai Super Kings. What happened? They didn't go so well, did they? They didn't win that one. It was Chennai who won that one. And we thought, oh, well, Chennai started quickly. What's going to happen here? Mumbai, they changed one player, moved along. They can't. It's like they can't lose. The way they're playing, it's like they can't lose. I mean, Pollard as skipper, does he not love it? He's gone and captain in the CPL and won 13 in a row, whatever it was, and he's captained a couple of times here. He's won 2 in a row. They just keep winning, and
I just want to
reinforcements.
Yeah,
go on then.
Just if you just pull that graphic out again, you talk about that first game that they lost against Chennai. After that, they haven't really lost. I mean, the 2 losses have come in super overs, right? I mean, that's not so, which means that while Delhi has had a wipeout in a game, Bangalore's had a couple of wipeouts, right? You go, these guys are they're neck to neck, right? They're neck and neck with the other team. There has been no game since then where they have been dominated by the other team.
I think
go on.
T20 cricket is obviously a game where you got to play a bit of risk cricket, and you've got to take the challenges on from time to time. But when you've got a strong team, when you've got depth in all departments, you can afford for guys to take risks and fail. I mean, we talk about SRH. You think, well, it's got to be Bairstow and Warner at the top of the order. Otherwise, what comes after them? Whereas with Mumbai, you've got Sharma and De Kock. If they don't come off, then the next 3 guys can do a good job, and then you've still got other guys who can hit at the back end. So it's the strength. I'm a firm believer, after watching as many RPLs as we have, that your international bowlers are often the ones who manage to hold their nerve in pressure situations better because just of the fact that they've experienced it more than the opposition. And that's where they've got strength in their international players. And when it comes to the pressure situations, it's Hardik Pandya or Pollard at the back end trying to get them over the line, or it's the international bowlers trying to close out a match. So their strength definitely lies in the experience and the balance and depth.
I also think there is something to be said with regard to picking a team and settling when they're a quality team. It's not all working at the same time. So not everyone, it's not 11 guys who win a game for you. Of the 11, yes, everyone must play a part to ensure that you do win, but you could probably pick out 6, 7, maybe 8 who have to be more prominent than the others. And at various times through this season, you could pick out each area and say, well, he didn't seem to be going okay, and they still went with him, and he is now going okay, and these guys over here not quite, but that guy over there now is. And batting, Quinton de Kock, when he started, wondered if they were going to drop him, right? Can they drop him now? No, right? Move further down the line. Rohit, how's he going? He didn't really start so well. He's okay. He's not quite hit top form, but he's the skipper and he's going okay. As a partnership with Quinny, they're doing well. Go further down the list. As you go further into the middle order, the same sort of things. Go to the bowling. Bumrah, he wasn't starting up. And as he was going along, it wasn't Jasprit Bumrah of old. It wasn't hitting top form, but Bolt, Pattinson particularly, was the one who was going quite well. Now Pattinson's out the side. Bolt's getting wickets. Bumrah is getting back to Bumrah of old. So as you go along, it just keeps shifting one guy to the other and to the other. And because they can keep the same team together, it just works, doesn't it?
The point I think we mentioned about Delhi. I mean, they've had different man of the matches. I mean, I don't even know who the man of the matches for Mumbai's wins have been. But I know Quinny's put in a performance that could have earned him. Krunal Pandya's done one. Hardik Pandya's done one. Pollard's done one. Bolt's done one. Bumrah's done one. So you go down and there's been 7 or 8 guys who've actually had games where if they'd got man of the match, no one would have been surprised. And that's the key. So they're getting contributions from everyone. They're not lumping too much responsibility on 2 or 3 players' shoulders.
That's the interesting bit about Mumbai, where you look at all the wins and the stat that we just looked at, which is you look at all their games, you see, oh, they haven't really been behind in any game. And then when you think about it, there's no blitzing AB de Villiers or that kind of performance, which is like, oh, he won the game single-handedly. It's just been all of them. They're just like this pack, right? That's moving forward. It's like a Tarantino film, right? It's like Reservoir Dogs. They're just all moving forward together, and you just got to move back. Oh, that's a lot of guns. That's a lot of guns. Rajasthan, of course, wants some of their guns to fire, right? Some of their big guns. Their guns are all over the place, right? They just, I don't get from where the pulpits that they're firing some of their guns from. Polly, I don't agree with some of the pulpits. The guns are placed wrong.
Yeah, in many ways, you think they are. I think Uttapa at the top of the order is actually not a bad call because he can just go and play. He doesn't have to worry about the stress of what he's got to do.
But Stokes?
And then, I mean, I don't
When
think
you
he's
play Butler,
I mean, I think he's. I would actually go back to the captain at the top of the order.
Oh.
Steve Smith. I don't see his name there. Actually.
So now,
he's
the
right at
the top,
yeah,
right at the top.
So I think I would go back to him because he's the kind of guy who can pierce the infield. I don't think he's that inventive. Whereas Butler and Stokes, for me, in the middle, they've got the experience, they've got the explosive ability to just clear boundaries, and they can also be nice and calm. And they've done it in countless occasions for England in one-day internationals. I know Butler, as of late, has been thrust up the top of the order for England at times. But I still think they've got calm heads. They can reverse sweep, they can pedal, they can play all those games. And I think Steve Smith, if he gets up front, he can knock a few through the infield, pick up some boundaries, and then go from there. So that would be my call. But I suppose you don't know the gist of what goes on inside that squad. But they do need the big players to step up. I mean, in South Africa, we get mates of ours. How come David Miller can't get a game after all their performance? How come he can't get a game? I mean, he had played one game, he got run out without facing the ball, so it hasn't been a great uphill for him. But I mean, maybe it's going to get to a stage where if Steve doesn't perform, maybe you have to start looking at David Miller to have a go. I mean, he's got that hit ability, and he would be a middle of the innings person.
Yeah, well, I mean, none of the England players are playing in position. Morgan's not playing at 4. Stokes is not playing at 5. None of them are playing in position for their team. They've all come here and they're trying to experiment, aren't they, Pommie? Are you a fan of this Stokes on opening experiment?
Yeah, I don't mind it, actually. When they put him up at the top there, my thinking, and for some, you might look and say it's unfair to others because they can play the role. My thinking is that it would be more difficult to sort of poke around at the back end in the middle of an innings with pitches having got slower. So with everyone up in the circle and him not having played for some time, having joined them late, but them looking at the package and thinking, hey, we want what he's got, right? We want the package that he brings. He can go up front and he can play some shots and he'll pierce the infield. He'll get the ball over the top. But as has been proven, that's not so simple. It's not simple for the guys who are openers. It's not been simple for Stokes himself. And I think they're sitting faced with a decision. Well, what do we do? Because if they just look at performance after performance after performance, they sit there and they go, well, that's kind of not what we expected. Then they must go, can we get it from somebody else? Or has the lack of form, the unsuccessful performances that have come to this point, have they equipped him enough with the knowledge of what he must do to be successful from here on? Because now are the crunch games and you want your crunch players, right? And he would be one of those. Yeah. So yeah, it's a really tough decision to come to when it comes to the players that are the big guys within the franchise.
Well, we will only know tomorrow because as we've realized today on Saturday has been that they just keep bucking trends. They keep giving us the unexpected. They keep surprising us. It just feels like it's my birthday every day. It's like, hey, who's coming out to open? That's fun. Well, yeah. So perhaps more of same tomorrow as well. Or maybe we just want a little bit more predictability tomorrow. Just a little. We've had too much today. We don't want last Sunday, this Sunday. We don't want 3 super overs. We want 4. Okay, that's it. The joy factor question.
Don't say that.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. We have a joy factor question and answer. Let's have a look at the question first. The supporters of which national cricket team identify themselves by a color no longer used by their team? And the answer is, gentlemen, the Beige Brigade, New Zealand. Of course, as we know, they used to use, beige was more like brown, brownish, beigeish, brownish.
Brown beige.
Can you say, Pommie, can you say that really quick? Can you say beigeish, brownish, beigeish, brownish?
Beige brownish. Beige brownish.
Yes.
Brownish. Yeah, me and
I knew they used to have a group of guys called the Beige Brigade, but I didn't know all their supporters were known as the Beige Brigade.
Yeah, I mean,
the word "all" wasn't in there.
Okay.
They call the Beige Brigade. Of course, they're the Black Caps now, the team that they are. But
yeah, that's what I would have said. More the Black Caps.
Yeah, but they're playing the Black Caps and the beige. So the Beige Brigade is what it's like the Barmy Army, right? That's what they call themselves. Let's see who got it right. I don't know. I got it right. At this time, I got it right. So first time I've got the joy factor question right. Just stop it already.
Oh,
just stop it. Stop it.
Oh, that is so funny.
You think he changed it? You think he just put that in for
He did for the entertainment.
Okay.
It is Giant Shankar.
That's not the person who's won that, right?
No, it is.
No,
so
maybe it is Giant Shankar, but
you can change your name. So you can't change your handle, but you can change your display name. So he's changed.
Right.
He or she have changed their display name to Pommie Pollock, right? Knowing fully well that I was the one who said New Zealand when the question came up. I see what you're doing, Giant Shankar. I see you. But I'm a giant slayer.
He's got for ingenuity, he's got to get a special award.
I think he should.
Giant, you've got to have put at Deadpool. You know, at Deadpool 444. Where was that? You didn't have it, did you?
I have at this point in time as an extra prize. I can either give a water bottle, a used tea bag, or a coaster, which is a zebra crossing. So if you have really tiny friends, you lay this down on a table and they'll just look left and right before they cross it. Yeah. Right before they cross it. All right, that's all we have time for. It has been a fantastic day. We, of course, want to tell you that you have to join us tomorrow at 3 p.m. Indian Standard Time, but we don't need to tell you because you're going to be here anyway. And, of course, we're going to be here with My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. A big thank you to Pommie Mbangwa. Thank you so much from Dubai. Yes?
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's been good. Yeah. We hot stepped our way in, and what are we doing on the way out?
Tub thumping. We're tub thumping on the way out.
We're tub thumping on the way out.
Yeah, tub thumping on the way out. But we have to thank Shaun Pollock, who's in Durban. So thank you so much for joining us, Polly. Thank you.
I've got a story about tub thumping. I'll tell you tomorrow.
No, tell us today.
Okay.
Does it involve you on a few beverages and then waking up in a bathtub in the morning?
No, that's not happening.
No, it's all cricket related. All cricket related.
All cricket related.
Okay. Keep them on tenterhooks.
I will. Tomorrow.
Keep it dangling.
Tomorrow.
Keep it
It's
dangling.
only one sleep away.
That's our teaser. Get up again. Good night. Get me down. I get knocked down. But I get up again.
Yeah, that's us.
Good night.
Yeah.